In this video, I'm going to share with you 8 different ways that you can get student loan forgiveness. Now, one of my members in my elite credit system was able to remove student loans off of his credit report by taking the steps that I'm going to share with you in this video. And he was able to go to a consumer attorney who took on the case and did not get paid until he was able to win and settle the case. And that took 4 months that he settled his case with the credit bureaus and they paid him. So I'm going to share with you this information. Also, if you didn't know, March 5th, 2025, they are now starting student loans collections and they're going into default. And you want to make sure that you call and check on the status of your student loans because they can garnish your paycheck or they can even take your tax return. So make sure you guys call in and establish some payments or try to get into an income driven program. Now, if you like this kind of information, make sure you subscribe to the channel and you can go to my website to pick up this free heart inquiry removal package. The link is in the description below. Now, in my prior student loan forgiveness video, many people were upset in the comment section about me sharing this information. Now, I have one question for you, and that's why aren't you upset over the PPP loan forgiveness for big corporations? As of early 2024, U.S. corporations receive approximately $763 billion in forgiven Paycheck Protection Program PPP loans. This figure comprised both full and partial forgiveness across over 10.5 million loans issued during the COVID-19 pandemic. During the COVID-19 pandemic, U.S. corporations' profits experienced significant growth, reaching historical levels across various industries. So if these corporations made all that money and got forgiveness, corporations, why didn't they pay it back? Why are you not upset about that? And a bigger question is why neither party is talking about this. Well, let's read this. Republican lawmakers with forgiven PPP loans. Vern Buchanan got over $2.3 million of PPP loan forgiveness. Hey, is that Mike Kelly? He got close to $1 million. Kevin Hearn got over $1 million. And look, and Marjorie Taylor Greene got over 183,000 in PPP loan forgiveness. Well, let's look on the Democratic side. Those lawmakers. Nancy Pelosi's husband got over $28 million in PP loan forgiveness. That's a lot of money. And Susan Lee, she got totaling over 5.6 million in PPP loan forgiveness. Senator Ron Wyden, he got 2.7 million of PP loan forgiveness. Bernie Thompson, 2.87 million in PP loan forgiveness and EDIL loans. See, there was a scene in The Matrix with Neo going to the Oracle house, and there was a little boy bending the spoon. And the little boy told him, do not try to bend the spoon. That is impossible. Only know the truth. And Neo said, what is the truth? And the little boy said, there is no spoon. Then he said, you'll only see is not the spoon that bends, it's only yourself. You see, I paid my student loans well over 20 years ago when I was 25 buying my second multifamily rental property. So because I don't need student loan forgiveness, I still understand what the system is. See, red or blue, neither is for you. The reason why they're not talking about it either side, because they're trying to divert you from the real truth. The real truth is one bird, different wings. Control opposition. To take it further, if it's really about democracy, why don't you have a third party? Most of these politicians have one thing in common. They're all rich and they're beholden to their millionaire donors in order for them to be career politicians. People like Elon Musk, people like Jeff Bezos, they give to both sides. What their job is, the politicians, is to give you talking points to demonize one another so you don't know that truth. Here's another simple question. If credit is really important, why aren't they teaching it in school? All of us will agree on that. In taxation, we use credit more than algebra. Why wouldn't they actually teach you that instead of kids getting into student loan debt and they push that so much in school? Because simply, student loan debt make up 5.8% of the U.S. economy. It makes up the U.S. GDP, and this is in 2025. Who made the modern day school system is J.D. Rockefeller. Now, at that time, Rockefeller was the most richest man in the United States. And so he needed a worker base. This is why your school system is set up like a modern day factory that you go to lunch with a bell. It's either pass or fail and no free thinking because they constructed it for you to be that way. Now, looking at the school system, they're putting AI education in there to be mandatory. Why? Because the magnificent seven that holds up the stock market in our economy is tech. You look at Tesla, it's Amazon, Microsoft, it's all big tech companies. The impression that you feel that way. Is the spoon really real? Do you feel that way? Or you're told to feel that way? A lot of you guys saying, hey, it's the law, follow the law. Let's read about this law. Number one, here's how they're reporting like this on people's credit report. So with the student loans, they'll report it on time, on time, on time, and then 90 days late. Now, let's examine the law. As you can see under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the responsibilities of furnishers of information to the consumer reporting agencies is reporting information with actual knowledge of errors. And they're not allowed to report inaccurate information. It tells you the treatment of inaccurate or unverified information in general after any reinvestigation under paragraph 1 of any information disputed by the consumer, an item of information is found to be inaccurate or incomplete or cannot be verified, the consumer reporting agency shall promptly delete that item of information from the file of the consumer or modify that item of information as appropriated based on the results of the reinvestigation and promptly notify the furniture of the information that the information has been modified or deleted from the profile of the consumer. Now, that is the law, but you talk about how it's not lawful. Why aren't you concerned that these big corporations are doing this? And Nailnet and also Mahalia right now have a lawsuit against them. They've been caught misappropriating payments of people. And then you say about following the law when there's K Street right there in Washington full of lobbyists in order to change the law so they don't have to follow the law. Once again, the spoon scenario. Hopefully, you guys, if you have student loans, these are the types of steps under the laws I gave you that you need to look at your credit report and the reporting. This is part of the key to get that information removed. You need to dispute and find these inaccuracies. And with my elite credit system, my AI software, it finds this inaccuracy in the reporting and you can create your dispute letters. And you want to dispute with the credit bureaus. You want to make sure that you dispute certified mail and you want to include an affidavit because they've been doing a stall tactic. So you would get this affidavit notarized one time with an official in your state, and the affidavit is actually swearing you are who you are so they can stop these stall tactics because they've been caught doing this, Equifax and Experian by the CFPB. And you will send that with every dispute and you would just make a copy of the original and then you would use the copies for every dispute and make sure you're sending that certified mail. I have those in my elite credit system or in my packages, those affidavits. And you want to make sure you're getting your full accounting history on your student loans by going to studentaid.gov. And when you go to studentaid.gov, you can get the history of your account. Now, under the Higher Education Act of 1965, they are supposed to maintain these records and servicers must abide by the laws. On your state and federal laws, this is why Mahalia right now have a lawsuit against them. The CFPB have found that Nailnet violated the Higher Education Act with not applying payments properly, and Navient was banned for that. Even Sallie Mae was caught not properly applying those payments, and all of them been caught deferring people from income driven programs. So you want to get the whole history of your account to find out, was your payments being applied properly and was this law violated? After doing 3 or 4 rounds of the dispute, you can also put a claim with your evidence to the CFPB. They are still open, you guys. A lot of people think they're not. People in my group submitted their claim and been getting a response back. They were only paused for 60 days and they still was answering even then. So you can submit that. And if they don't change this around, now that opens you to a case because they're reporting inaccurate information. Now, let's jump into the 8 ways for student loan forgiveness. These options are still available and they cannot be affected or removed by executive order because they were legislated in by Congress, and it's going to take an act of Congress for this to change. So right now, they're still available and you want to make sure you apply as soon as possible. The first way is income driven repayment IDR forgiveness. The federal government offers several IDR plans which allow you to cap your loan payments at a percentage of your monthly income. When enrolled in one of these plans, your remaining loan balance may be eligible for forgiveness in 20 or 25 years, depending on the plan and the type of student loans you have. Now, the second is public service loan forgiveness, available to government and qualifying nonprofit employees with federal student loans. Eligible borrowers can have their remaining loan balance forgiven tax-free after 120 qualifying loan payments on an income-driven repayment plan and 10 years of full-time public service work. Now, with this program, you could have even went out of the public service realm and then come back and make these qualifying payments, which 120 payments would be 10 years of payments, but they also allow you to make up to 12 months in advance of payments, especially if you're close to the end of that time. Now, another thing to keep in mind, you definitely want to get into that income driven repayment plans so you can reduce your payments, which would be those qualifying payments. And then you pay that for those 120 of those qualifying payments for those 10 years. And that is a better angle to get that public service student loan forgiveness so you're not paying that really high monthly student loan payment back in that time. Third is teacher loan forgiveness. Teachers employed full-time in low-income public schools may be eligible for the teacher loan forgiveness after working for 5 consecutive years. They can have up to 17,500 in student loans forgiven. Number 4 is Perkin loans cancellation. Borrowers who hold federal Perkin loans and work in qualifying public service roles may be eligible to have their debts eliminated over time. In many cases, a portion of the loan is discharged each year of service with full cancellation, possibly after 5 years of eligible employment. The 5th, total and permanent disability discharge. If you cannot work due to being totally and permanently disabled physically or mentally, you may qualify to have your remaining student loan debt discharged. 6, the borrower's defense to repayment. Borrowers defrauded by their colleges may have their loans forgiven under the borrower's defense repayment program. You would need to file a borrower's defense claim with the U.S. Department of Education. And as I mentioned, you guys, if your school had promised job placement or some kind of way, also with colleges, that counselor sometimes will put you in courses that is not even towards your credit for your degree. That can be considered defrauding. So you can put in this application right at your servicer website, and they must answer this in a time period. And now with the Trump administration doing all these changes, you can have a backup and maybe have your case forgiven by going this route. Number 7, closed school discharge. You may qualify for a closed school loan discharge if your school closes and you had been enrolled or have left within 180 days without receiving a degree when it closed. So many people that had DeBry, ITT Tech, Lincoln Tech, you may qualify for this if your school closed. Also, the other ways that you can get this is from military service. So military service members with federal student loans may qualify for a special benefit, including interest rate caps under the Service Member Civil Relief Act and Department of Defense student loan repayment program. Also with the American Corps participant who complete a term of national service in an approved AmeriCorps program qualify for the Siegel AmeriCorps Education Award. This can be used to repay qualified student loans. Now, hopefully this information was helpful. If you have questions for me, you can leave it in the comment section. But if you have more detailed questions for me, you can go to my website and all your questions go directly to my cell phone. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned.